Hello?
Hello.
All right, now I hear you.
Fuck! God damn it! Fuck!
Jesus Christ. Okay, so we're going to go a little old school with this where I have you on the Skype channel, basically, coming through, and we just take what we can get.
Yeah. Pretty much. Fuck life. Really could give a shit about anything, and I'm just pissed about life right now.
That wasn't the good computer, was it?
Yeah, that was the wife's computer. That was all of ours computers.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So...
I have it pretty much laying out on a towel right now, hoping that it'll just dry out.
You pulled the battery out and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sitting there in a tent form right now, so hopefully everything will just dry out.
Okay, I heard it. Like, it was in the recording. I heard, like, ice cubes, like a tumbler got knocked over, ice cubes and all.
Yeah.
And then I just heard you scream fuck, and then it disconnected like a couple minutes later where I'm like, that does not sound good.
No, it was bad. I'm fucking livid right now with just everything in the world. I could fucking just...
You know the best way to relieve that tension though, Matt, right?
Get drunk?
Yes, but also to rip into Mattei for this film.
Yeah, fuck him too. Fucker could only give me 4 clips. I had to write everything else down.
Oh my god, you are going to be so fucking livid for this show. It's going to be fucking cool.
Yeah, I am.
Alright,
Fucking prick.
your phone, you can tell the difference. Like, you just sound more like an echo chamber kind of thing, but it is what it is. We're going to do what we can do with this, and we're just going to keep going because this is now 247.
Yes.
Yeah. And what's really funny is, like, I posted in the group, I'm like, hey, everybody, Matt just dumped shit all over his fucking computer. We're trying to figure out what to do. And the first thing that, I think it was our boy Mike, he was like, is this the end of the streak? And I'm like, it's not Sunday yet, man.
Right?
Right. I mean, that was the stance that I was taking on it. So I think we're in a good place now. You vented a little bit. We had a little bit of fun. We talked about it. So you ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. 247 weeks and no fucking stopping no matter what, right?
Right, yeah, no fucking, no matter what. No matter if I fucking die, apparently.
We'll see what we can do about that.
Yeah, please.
The following show will destroy your self-worth with excessive expletives, overtly descriptive sexual deviance, and more desperation for external validation than any so-called entertainment should ever be allowed. Two talentless losers who are about as insightful and provocative as a comatose jellyfish. CinePsyEP247.
A tendency to deprave and corrupt those whose minds are open to such immoral influences, and to whose hands a publication of this sort may fall. So if someone of a dirty bird gets hold of your stuff, and it makes them a dirtier bird, then it's labeled obscene.
Encouraging the lowest, most base, and animalistic of desires to all who will listen.
Because we, as a society, have decided that
CinePsyEP247
represents our base and vulgar impulses, and that acknowledging our use of it rattles our collective conscience.
I was trying my best to make a positive impact in the lives of others, but secretly I was involved in a relationship that was taking over my life.
CinePsyEP247.
It was leaving me wounded and depressed, unable to even manage the relationships that mattered to me.
Auditory vermin infesting every aspect of the human condition, spreading their filth and foul disease. The Black Plague of podcasting. CinePsyEP247 with Cort and Matt.
Welcome to the 247th straight week of CinePsyEP247. I'm your host and the main engineer of this show, Cort, and calling in from his cell phone is Matt.
I fucking hate this.
Yeah, you are not having a very good day or week or month or even your year, but I won't be there for you because I'm not the friend song. I'm just a guy standing in front of a friend who needs to use his phone to podcast for the 247th 247th week straight.
Oh God, now I just got a vision of Cort with the Rachel hairstyle.
I could probably...
Makes the day a little bit better.
You know what? I would call out to all the memers out there to cheer you up.
I need to see that. Cort sign up with the Rachel. So,
Shit.
anybody, all of you out there listening out there in the abyss, put your talents, your deviant, horrific talents to work there.
Yeah, if we could get that as a meme, even I would be okay with it. Fuck, I'll take any of the friends' haircuts right now, because at least I would have hair then, Matt. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe somebody should superimpose your face over, like, the Friends intro. Just every friend is you.
Jesus Christ, that's a fucking nightmare waiting to happen.
Fuck, man, now I want to see it more. Nobody's gonna find the I'll Be There For You, the Friends theme song, like if a death metal band like did a cover of it.
Well, it's kind of funny that you bring this up, because I'm immediately flashing to, I don't know if you saw this or not, but you remember MTV used to do a thing back when it played music where it would have bands play unplugged, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember when MTV had Alice in Chains performing unplugged? Do you remember that at all?
I remember that, yes.
Okay, the bass player had scratched into his acoustic bass the phrase, "Friends don't let friends get friends haircuts."
Nice. That's great.
It took me a while to be able to read it. It took me even longer to be able to figure out what that meant, because I didn't watch Friends at the time. And now that I know, I think I'm going to take the bass player from Alice in Chains' advice.
Oh, okay, there you go. Not get friends haircuts.
Right.
Well, I think our friends should give you friends haircuts.
I mean, sure, if that's what's going to have to happen.
Virtual world. In the virtual world.
Right.
Not
I mean,
for real.
there's worse things they could do to me in meme form, you know, and they've done it. They've already done it pretty much, so we're good.
Yeah. I mean, they've already done a lot more worse shit than that. So just giving you the Rachel ain't gonna be a problem.
This sounds like the Hello, This is the Doom show back when Brad used to be on speakerphone. You probably never listened to it, but when they first started recording, they had like a little wave recorder thing that Richard spoke into the microphone, and then he played Brad over speakerphone into that same recorder. So that's how they got their podcast done in like the very, very earliest days.
Who did we have on who had to do it from his car?
That actually was Ryan. Ryan was just talking about how, like, if you had to call in, you could at least call in. So,
yeah.
But I mean, Ryan went all out. Like, he went into his truck in like the deep of summer and like went up on a hill where he'd have the best signal, and then
like no air conditioning or nothing. I'm like, oh my God, we're gonna kill him.
Yeah, and he used FaceTime audio, which is like a call over the LTE network at the time, which was like the 4G network. That's like dedicated to voice calling, but it's like the high definition voice audio, and that's how we got that to sound as best as possible. And he basically just called my phone. And we did the FaceTime audio that way, and that worked. We've done phone calls before in the past, Geek Chat Army and stuff like that. I try to stay away from it when I can, especially since you're going to be doing the notes, but I'm sorry, folks, this is the best we can get, and we're not ending the streak just because Matt's going to sound like shit.
Yeah. So, fuck it. Let's go. Let's do this.
And it could be fucking worse because, I mean, it's for May Mattei. It's not like we're doing anything, like...
At least the movies were shitty. I mean, the movies are shitty. The audio gets to be shitty.
I don't know, man. This is probably the best we're going to get this round of May Mattei. I feel like this is the pinnacle.
Really?
I mean, Laura Gemsner.
Yeah, but she's fucking hardly ever nude, dude. It hurts.
But it's also some of the best acting we've seen from her. She does a really excellent performance in this.
She does, actually. She does a great acting job.
And besides, you're not entitled to see Laura Gemsner's body. You are blessed when you get the chance to see Laura Gemsner's body.
I'm not disagreeing, but one can be disappointed when one does not get to see Laura Gemsner's body. Am I wrong?
Well, considering there's not really much else to look forward to in a Mattei film in general, whether it's May Mattei or not. I mean, the possibility of seeing Laura Gemsner naked is the thing that keeps you relatively sane and moving forward when you're watching a Mattei film. And we were both robbed of that, and our review probably will show.
Yes, it will, because I don't care. The movie was about a massacre in a women's prison. There, review done. We're done with the show. Let's go to bed.
No, it doesn't work like that, but I will do my best to move things along as quickly as possible. I know that people love our pablum, but we've had a lot of stress already just getting this shit started. I think you've probably taken another year and a half off of your life just trying to get something to work.
Pretty much, yeah.
So we will fuck around no more. We shan't tarry with the fucking about. We're going to move forward. We're going to play the Legion GoFundMe promo. We'll have a little bit more music that is synthwave because that worked just fine last week. And when we come back, we'll just kick right into the review because there wasn't a fucking trailer for this.
This is Bo from LegionPodcasts.com. Hey, it's been a crazy time, and when the world gets nuts, we're happy to offer some old-fashioned podcast entertainment. But for some folks, getting a laugh out of a show isn't really helping these days. People who depend on tips in their bartending jobs or have been put on furlough with no pay till the worst of this coronavirus threat has passed. That's a tough spot. That's why we set up a GoFundMe for members of our community, a sort of grand-scale take a penny, leave a penny. For people like myself, for whom the recent disruptions haven't kicked us out of work, well, we can drop a few of those extra pennies in the GoFundMe jar. For those who are directly affected by recent events and find themselves looking for money to pay the electric bill or keep the water on, well, how about you give me a shout at B-O, at legionpodcasts.com. Let me know the situation and what you need, and we'll do our best to make life a little easier. And you can find links to the GoFundMe on the front page of legionpodcasts.com, on our Facebook group page, or on Twitter at Legion Podcasts, where it's the pinned tweet. For those of you who are able, thanks in advance for chipping in. And members of our community who need a hand, hey, here we are. Remember, stay safe, stay healthy, and we're all going to get through this together. Legion isn't just a name, it's who we are. Thanks for listening to all the shows here on Legion Podcasts, and we'll talk to you soon.
The one thing this film definitely was lacking, besides your estimation of a naked Laura Gemsner, was a relatively, decent soundtrack. It was like 3 notes played over and over again. And I would like to submit this synthwave stuff that I'm playing right here would have been a perfect scene where we have Laura Gemsner sort of, bathing and trying to figure out what to do with her life while stuck in this women's prison that's about to have a massacre. We could have had the best of both worlds. We could have had really cool synth and Laura Gemsner showering or bathing.
Yeah, this is true.
I mean,
you could have had all of that.
Like, she could have had her own, private tub that was nice and hot that the warden was giving to her because the warden was into her. Maybe a loofah, a little bit of exfoliating soap. She's really trying to work out the stress of the day. Maybe the warden shows up, tries to help work out the kinks in the back of her neck with a little massage, and this movie becomes something really special.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, can we make that move?
If Laura Gemsner's willing, I'd still try and make it, but
right?
Instead we're going to have to talk about Women's Prison Massacre, so let's just get it over with.
All right, let's just get it over with. Well, anyway, we open up with 3 women doing a play in our first clip.
Laura's who I am, of the snake mask, as sensual and cruel as a praying mantis is. I had admirers who gloated enviously. I was the woman they paid just to get a whiff of my scent. No one had the nerve to call me his or even her woman. Only only one. Just one. But he made a fatal mistake. You don't betray the mantis. Poor fools. How stupid they look, smiling at a woman, the one they've betrayed, as they sit astride her. Poor fools. How their expressions change from men to swine when you emasculate them. Poor fools.
Irene is who I am. Irene the slut. Filthy slut Irene. 'Cause I'm open to anyone's offers. The women know I have vices. And the men know me as a spring from which their pleasure flowed. And they drank their fill. My joy and happiness was in quenching their thirst as they sucked me dry of desire, their fingers searching me for more. Now there are girls. They're all my girls. They all know Irene. And Irene knows each one of them intimately. And all of them would like to know Irene again, share her.
My name is Emmanuelle, and I'm a woman. Even in here, I'm free to be a woman. I hate this piece of cement. And I love my companions and friends all. I love them for what they are, in good and bad, in love and hate. For me, everything happens suddenly. From reporter to prisoner, from a free woman to a person with no rights. And the one responsible for this terrible miscarriage of justice will one day pay for his crime. But that's not what matters now. It's my condition. The condition of all of us here that counts. Not one of us is a virgin in body. We would all admit that. But not one of us wishes to have her soul violated as well, whatever the cost.
One woman comes up and she's not very happy about it, and she seems to be the tough lady, and she starts throwing veggies at Laura Gemser's face, and now I all of a sudden hate this lady.
I hated her because she's blonde, first of all, and then when she started chucking shit at Laura Gemser, I'm like, you must die a painful death.
Yeah. So anyway, they all get separated by guards. So then Laura Gemser, or Emmanuelle, as her name is in the movie, is then confronted by the warden. And I know this sounds funny, but it's also our next clip.
I won't ask you to give me an explanation for this filthy rubbish. It is quite clearly an act of sedition, hysterical reaction to what justice and the law is doing to you. There's not a drop of repentance. There's no humility. It deals solely in cruelty. It's packed with violence and sex. The whole thing seems designed to disturb, to provoke unrest, rebellion, and escape.
I'm sorry, but you could censor the more daring parts.
Emmanuelle, you're still quite young. You're headstrong, and you're intelligent. You had a good education, and you're attractive, especially when you managed to overcome this rather forced vulgarity. Another important thing is the influence you have over your companions. I thought that putting on this show would help you all to feel this place was less oppressive than some of the other detention centers, which is why I agreed to it. But if the script is not changed, I shall have to forbid it. The show must not go on.
May I go now?
Certainly. Take care, Emmanuelle. There's a limit to our patience. I wouldn't advise you to push us any harder than you already have.
That's strange. It's the second warning I've received today, and it seems like the same person is speaking.
Okay, so now just before we go on, 2 clips down, we are 8 minutes and 17 seconds into the movie, and we're already halfway through further clips, everyone. So there we go.
Oh, and I want to point out that the total time of clips is about 5-ish minutes. So out of the total 8 minutes of screen time, you made 5 minutes worth of clips. I'd almost applaud you if I weren't so appalled at that.
Well, it's it. So anyway, now we cut to the crazy blonde-haired woman, Albina, who we all hate.
Yeah.
We all hate.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to hate this woman.
Yeah, she is giving shit to Emmanuel's friends. So Emmanuel decides to arm wrestle her and beats her in an arm wrestling contest. While the arm wrestling is going on, like the guards were thinking about doing something, like interrupting them, then they were stopped by the warden. And when Albina was beaten, the warden was very angry.
Yeah, this is like they have some kind of weird inappropriate relationship or something that's hinted at but never fleshed out.
And it's also discussed later on that because Albina's just kind of a psycho and will like assault the girls, they find it keeps the girls in line better than somebody who might make trouble, who get the girls together.
Well, as we know from living under the current reigning administration, being in constant fear of something horrible happening to you tends to help you keep your mouth shut.
Exactly. So anyway, Emmanuel's 2 friends who were doing the play with her, I believe one's name is Laura, while the other one's name is Irene. Sorry, the other one's name is Irene. Well, anyway, as they are at the showers and other girls are getting ready, they just try to start getting it on.
Okay, do you remember this scene from the Violence in a Women's Prison we covered last year? It's like the same fucking scene.
This movie was Violence in a Women's Prison, only Laura Gemsner isn't undercover at this point.
But she does say in the play that she was a reporter or some shit like that, too.
She was a reporter, but she was framed to get into prison.
Right. So what I was kind of reading up about this is they shot them back to back, but they're supposed to be completely different movies. But it looks to me like they decided to take one big, overlong, crazy, complicated women in prisons film movie that would have been like 3 hours and split it off into 2.
So you mean they Mattei'd it? That's what they did. They Mattei'd it.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, that's
a classic Mattei maneuver.
Sort of. That's more of a Lloyd Kaufman kind of thing with Toxie 2 and 3.
But all right, you're not wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, they already had the sets, they already had the actors and the actresses hired, they already had everything. The thing that they included in this movie versus the other one was lingerie that was supplied by a lingerie manufacturer who helped fund this film, and that's why the lingerie was in this film and wasn't in the Violence in a Women's Prison.
Oh. Well, then here's the next problem. So then Albina sees this, and then another reason to hate Albina, she rats them out to the guards, who breaks them up.
Yeah, okay. People are getting off here, and you're fucking tongue blocking or finger blocking. What do you call it when you interrupt? Coitus interruptus for 2 lesbians. I don't know the term for that.
Clam blocking?
Clam blocking?
One's a cock block, one's a clam block. The clam blocked her.
Yeah, I'll accept that. Yeah, she clam blocks them. That's fucking rude.
Yeah, it's fucking horrendous. I hate it. And I hate her.
Yep.
So anyway, then at this point, the 2 girls are punished by constantly being dunked underwater. After this, they're all in their cells, and they tell Emmanuel that the guards like Albina because she's nuts and will keep the girls in line and won't cause trouble like a girl who might bring them all together, like Emmanuel.
Yeah, they don't want no unionization of prisoners.
Yeah, no. So anyway, he then confronts the warden about this, and the guard who was kind of there, but the guard lies her ass off, and Emmanuel calls her out on that. And then so Emmanuel gets punched in the face, and then the guards force Emmanuel to dunk her own face into water. And every time she comes back up, they beat her with their billy clubs, and so she has to go back into the water.
I really hate seeing Laura Gemsner being just mistreated. Like, it really bugs me more than most other actresses. I don't know if it's just my affinity for her or what, but this really bothered me. It's well shot, which is not something I normally would say for a Mattei film, but the violence that happens to her in this sequence really made my gut wrench.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. It was bad.
I can't tell if it's because I love Laura Gemsner like I do, or if it was just that the movie was this well done in this scene.
Yeah, I don't know which one of the... it's because, I love Laura Gemsner. It's just mad. It makes me mad.
Yeah, probably.
So anyway, Emmanuel wakes up, and she is then confronted by Albina. Emmanuel then... she looks like Albina's going to try to kill her. And she turns around, and Emmanuel just pretty much whoops her ass like a motherfucker. So that was awesome. And this leaves the two guards stunned on the outside, and they start beating her up for getting her ass kicked.
That was pretty awesome.
Heads back to her cell. Yes, that made me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
It's weird that I like seeing Laura Gemsner dealing out pain and discomfort and dishonor to someone else, but I can't stand seeing it done to her.
It's because she's the good person.
I think it just might be my kink to watch little Laura Gemsner beat the fuck out of someone that's almost twice her size.
That also might be good, yeah. I mean, I'm not judging you for anything here. Anyway, Emmanuel and her crew are kind of hanging out, and Irene has a blow-up doll in her bed that her man sent her so she doesn't lose practice.
This made me laugh. I was laughing my ass off at the two ladies with the blow-up doll, and especially when the one was like, "You want to borrow it?" I'm like, "Ooh, yeah. Holy, really sloppy seconds, Batman."
Well, did you? Because I don't see any disinfectant in there. So
maybe I'm just extra germophobic because of COVID and all, but I was like, yeah, maybe you should at least rinse it off.
You need to get a wipe in there. That's definite.
Preferably of the flushable nature.
Yeah, exactly. So then Laura talks to Emmanuel, and we get a little more backstory in our next clip.
What are you writing? I have a suspicion. Remember that man called Robinson? I mentioned him to you.
Sure I do. The bastard who got you thrown into jail.
What's happening is no accident. Someone's gunning for me. I'm certain of it.
You mean the warden?
No, I really don't think so. There's more to this than a question of power. I suspect there's somebody very important behind it who fears me even though I'm in a prison cell.
You were investigating a case of smuggling drugs just when you were framed and arrested, weren't you, Emmanuel?
Yes, that's how it was. You have no idea how many people who are above suspicion in this country are involved in the drug smuggling racket. And one of the men at the top of the list is Vincent Robinson, the man who planted the dope on me.
But why the hell should he still be after you? You can't do anything in jail.
But one day I'll come out of here, and I could pick up where I left off. In fact, if he doesn't stop me first, I swear I'll destroy him.
You have to get him before he gets you.
That's Vincent Robinson. My troubles began with him, and it's his fault if they're still with me. I'll never forgive him.
May we have a statement?
So I just want everyone to know we are now 22 minutes and 29 seconds into the film, and we only have one clip left. So, but anyway, Laura's been set up by what it sounds like the district attorney. So it's a pretty powerful man to have it in for you. She's in a lot of trouble. So then that same guy has decided, we cut to this district attorney, he's decided to send 4 violent male convicts who are set for the electric chair to be held over for night at the women's prison. So then we cut to the back of the van. They're all driving, and in the back they're all kind of handcuffed, and the cop's there with his sitting there with the shotgun. All the prisoners are threatening to kill the cop, and apparently Crazy Boy loves killing cops. That's his whole fucking thing. That's 2 of the other cops talking about it. The Crazy Boy's back there, and he's a big time cop killer. Now go ahead and tell me how he's your hero now.
No comment.
No comment. Yeah. Because he turns out to be a real evil bastard.
Right.
So anyway, the warden of the women's prison, she calls the district attorney and lets him know that everything's been arranged. So later on, they're outside for, their recess, and all the ladies are told to go in except for Emmanuel. As she's sitting out there, Albina shows up with a knife. All the guards are still watching. Albina runs after her, and Emmanuel sidesteps her. They fight a little bit. She grabs the knife and stabs Albina right in the fucking leg with it.
She pulls like a total Karate Kid. Remember whenever Johnny did that to Danielson, right? When Danielson came charging at him?
When they're fighting on the beach, yeah.
Because he goes charging at him, he just steps to the side and trips him, right?
Yep, pretty much. So after that, we're coming up on the envoys driving, and they're coming up on a roadblock. They called to the cops, and the cops who are standing at the roadblock say there was a prison break, and that they can't go through and they have to turn around. And one of the cops, they're kind of questioning him, seeing if they're real cops. Finally, one of the cops asks him about a certain somebody, and he goes, yeah, that cop's out, he's patrolling a different area. And that's when, he kind of knows that it's bullshit because that cop's dead. So they run through the convoy. They get shot up in the process. One cop is killed, the shot in the head. After they get away for a bit, they crash the car. The other cop dies of wounds. He was shot. So, but the third cop, he's fine, and he's deciding, he says, they head up to, he takes the 4 men to the women's prison.
Okay, I just want to point out, this action sequence of all the gunshots and all of the shootouts and shit, actually pretty well done. So,
not bad.
Earlier Mattei is better Mattei. This is like 80-ish, like 83 or something like that, and Shocking Dark was like later 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
So it seems like the later on in his career, the more hacky he gets, but this and Violence of the Women's Prison are actually pretty decent flicks, all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, this is at least a good chase. I don't know about being a good flick, but it's a good, this particular action sequence is good.
Right. I mean, okay, on a sliding scale of Mattei, this is towards the good side, is what I'm getting at.
Okay, I gotcha. Anyway, the man cop then introduces each criminal to the warden, and that's our final clip.
Ed O'Hara, 34, Irish origin. Multiple rapist and murderer. Condemned to die in the electric chair. And we have here Victor Brain, 35, known as Geronimo because he's part Navajo. Murdered a guard during an escape attempt from Fort Perry, where he committed his last murder. He strangled his cellmate during the night because he was a bit noisy.
Snore so loud I couldn't sleep.
He also got the death penalty. Helmut von Bauer, 26, German origin.
Aryan.
Rapist and killer. Cut the throats of his accomplices while dividing the spoils of a heist. His nickname is Blade. And last but by no means least in our collection, Howard Henderson, known as Crazy Boy in the headlines, where he has frequently figured. An unpredictable, dangerous criminal with a list of crimes to his credit that include rape, robbery, and murder.
I try to do my best.
A living example of refuse to burn. His specialty is a dedication to cop killing. To pay for all he's done, he would have to be condemned to death more than once. Pity we can hang, shoot, and give him the hot seat.
Let's not exaggerate.
Well, I've delivered the goods, and they have to stay here till their sentences are confirmed, which should be in the next couple of days. With any luck. After which, they'll be transferred to the main security prison.
We'll take care of them, don't worry. That I can assure you. They'll be temporarily put in the wing where we keep the most dangerous and desperate prisoners.
Sounds like fun, guys.
I've been in a wing like that.
I mean, not in the prison wing, though. Just your house.
I am kept in the office area of the most desperate and dangerous coder.
Yeah.
I mean, by default, default.
Yeah, of course. So, while they're locking them up, the warden and another female guard are taken hostage. As they are sitting there, and the main cop guy, he's got a shotgun pointed at him. To make a point, one of the other guards one of the other criminals, the Blades, the guy named Blades, who cut all his fucking cohorts' necks, he has a razor blade hidden in his mouth. He takes it out and cuts the throat of one of the female guards. And when they threaten to do the same to the warden, Harrison, the chief, he gives up his shotgun, and they take it, and then they shoot him in the shoulder, and I just don't really think they know how shotguns work.
In this film, yeah, definitely not, because if they shot him in the shoulder with a shotgun, most of his shoulder would be gone at that range.
Yeah, I mean, most of his shoulder. If they would have shot him from that range, even aiming at the shoulder, I'm pretty sure it'd hit center mass at some point.
Well, it's going to scatter out, but if they're pointing the barrel at the shoulder, the main focus is going to be in the shoulder. It probably would have blew his goddamn arm off, which would have opened up a major goddamn vein or artery, and he would have bled out anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Other guards show up now who are armed, and they say that they have, they are demanding a radio, and so they can talk to the outside world. They also find out that Harrison is actually still alive, so they throw him in the cell with Emmanuel. They finally get the radio, and the asshole district attorney calls in. The main bad guy says they want a car, then a plane, and they also want $5 million in small bills in the car, or else everyone will start dying.
$5 million in small bills takes up a lot of goddamn space.
Right? I mean, holy shit. I mean, what's the smallest bill? That's always going to be something you have to think about.
Yeah, small bills like ones and fives. Fucking $5 million in ones and fives. Jesus Christ. Yeah. It's like a million fives. A million fucking fives, dude.
It's a million fives.
That's a lot of fucking fives.
That's a lot of fives, man. I don't know what he's doing here, but they're criminals for a reason.
Yeah, they're not that bright, but I get it. They want untraceable bills. Cool. That makes sense. But define small bills because, ones, fives, do you want it all in twos?
Yeah, exactly. Well, after this, the main guy decides to give one of the other guys, the warden, for a little do-si-do action, and then he goes and checks on Emmanuel. When he opens up the door and he sees that she's trying to stop the bleeding, he actually starts laughing. In the other room, one of the other prisoners with the warden has her start stripping slowly, and then he tells her to do it quicker, and then tells her that, don't worry, he's not going to hurt her, but he does want her to do things to herself.
The lingerie that she is wearing is, I think, from the manufacturer that sponsored this movie, I believe.
I wouldn't doubt that. I would believe that exact. Let's see.
I mean, it's nice lingerie. I don't mind seeing her taking it off slowly. I was fine with that.
One other guy decides to go looking, and he goes looking for drugs in the med unit, but finds Albania instead. He gets into bed. And by the way, all of this, everything I'm telling you right now is interlaced. So, everything kind of cut back and forth. I just found it better just to tell what every single guy did, the four of them.
Yeah, because the jumping around was a little bit hard to follow what was happening, and you lose interest real quick on that if you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, so I just decided to say, until this interlation's done, I'm just going to know what each man did in this scene here. So then he and Albania appear to have consensual sex on this. So, all right, fine. Then the crazy dude at the razor, well, he goes off and he finds the entirety where the women are kind of kept, and the women are just going crazy for him. They want him, and they grab him and stuff through the bars, and are just groping him and everything. So he's having a fine time.
Yeah, it was a really interesting sequence. These are some very thirsty ladies, and the way they were clutching and grabbing at him, and the way that he was enjoying that adulation and just sheer animalistic grope that was happening to him. I kind of want, he makes out with a few of them, and he reaches through the bars and grabs a hold of a few of them too. And I was just kind of like, dude, get your hands on some keys, and these girls want you, so go for it,
Right. So after everything's over with Albania, though, the dude chloroforms her because he says he's a jealous man and he doesn't want anybody else to have her. So he's going to pretty much hide her out as being drugged up.
Yeah, that was weird. I think that was just a way to get her character out until the end of the movie.
Yeah, I think so. The main guy comes back after being with the warden, and so the main dude tells him to keep watch, and he's going to go talk to the cop. So he goes in there, and after seeing that the bleeding has stopped and that she's kind of making him feel better, he punches the wound. Emmanuel gets mad, and he's mad that Emmanuel is trying to defend a cop because obviously she's in prison. He's like, you should hate him. And then he rapes her.
This was disgusting. I mean, it was really well done as far as filmmaking goes. It made it as gross and awful. And I've gotten to the point now, Matt, where this is where I totally decided I'm really tired of seeing Laura Gemsner be sexually assaulted by anyone or anything. I know, right? I don't want to see that anymore. I'm sick of it. I mean, rape scenes in general, I'm kind of getting tired of, but it's been all over a ton of these exploitation exploitation flicks that we've been doing lately and we can't escape it. But this one was really vile because especially like the cop that's just laying there like weak. You can even see the actor on his face in a couple of the scenes. He's reacting to it, but he can't do anything about it because he's fucking bleeding out. And it's just, it goes on for quite a while. I will say this, at least they had some fucking taste and they didn't strip her down nude while she's being raped in this one. So there's at least that.
But incredibly, she's also wearing really fancy stockings.
Again, from the lingerie supplier, but all the women had those stockings because when she had that fight with Albania and she kicks her ass and the lady goes head over tea kettle, kind of like, rolls and like her ass pops out and there's panties and stockings. That's when I noticed that they all had the same stocking.
Yes. So then the crazy dude, he finds Irene, who is all ready for him. She's ready to have a little action. And the other lady's also there, Laura. And they show him the blow-up doll, and he makes Irene dance with it. Then he makes both of them dance with it. Then all of them are dancing with it. So then Crazy brings out his razor, and he, of course, cuts the blow-up doll, so it dies.
The dildo part's still good, right? Because it's just a solid dildo that's on the end of a fucking blow-up doll.
Yeah, you would think so. That's what appeared.
I mean, in all reality, it'd be easier for them to hide a dildo, and then the girls could use a dildo on each other with a strap-on type variety thing. Yeah, I mean, not that I was hoping to see that later in the film.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
maybe a lot.
So then she slaps him and he cuts her face. And then that just kind of scene cuts away. It cuts away. There's a big plan going on with the district attorney. He's getting guys ready to go into the building, storm the building, and he said he wants a cameraman there. Some other officials are telling him he's on his own if this goes wrong. So we know there's a plan in force. So then the crazy guy, he joins the rest of the guys, and he's kind of enjoying himself, but he realizes he lost his mouth razor. Then we cut to Laura's comforting Irene, who's got through some rough shit there, and she actually sees the razor on the ground. Emmanuel tries to help the cop, so she's still, trying to field dress his wound, all that kind of shit. Then we cut back to Irene being taken care of again by Laura. Then the guys call the DA Robinson, and he says the money's going to take just a little bit longer because it's a lot of money. Albina wakes up, and as she's coming out of it, she starts to see the men removing the bars off the windows of the med unit. So that we see that's where it's going to come in. So she walks out before they get in, and she tells them that they might want to make a deal with her in soon as their time's running out. So then the army guys, they all bust in, and 4 of the criminals, or what people wearing the criminals' clothes, come out and they shoot them, but it's all actually 4 of the lady prisoners. Then the rest of the guys come out and they start shooting them. However, as they're shooting them, one of the actual criminals is shot through all this. He's also taken out. Here. So then, while the rest of the army men are shot dead, except for the cameraman. So then the head dude gets on TV and he starts killing soldiers on TV, yelling at the DA. This is all live on TV. And then he kills the cameraman as well. So he goes on his own little massacre.
I wonder if this is the massacre in a women's prison. I wonder if this is what they're talking about.
Oh, this is the massacre. Probably is, because a lot of people just got killed there.
Did this sequence remind you of something that Quentin Tarantino wrote and Oliver Stone directed about killers of a natural born nature?
Yeah, the prison riot and stuff. Yeah, it does.
A little too close in some cases, right? Like, especially when he's like hamming it up for the camera.
I'd say Mattei didn't rip this up. Rip this off.
Well, if you take Mattei, you give him plenty of money, and then you have a bunch of people decide that, oh, you know what, your ripoffs are homages and you're actually brilliant. You have Quentin Tarantino.
Goddamn, fuck, you're right. That's a mighty good point there.
It's good detective work, right?
Yeah, that's a mighty fine police work there, Lou. So anyway, one of the girls who was killed is actually Irene. So Emmanuel, and then we cut to in the cell. Emmanuel and Albina are forced to play Russian roulette by 2 of the guys.
This was pretty fucking dark. I know that once again a Deer Hunter knockoff, and I think this was even in Violence in a Women's Prison at some point. point where they had a Russian roulette thing. Or there was one of the fucking Mattei movies later on. I think it was in the direct-to-video ones. We saw some more of this Deer Hunter Russian roulette. But it was way more obvious Deer Hunter ripoff in that one because they even had the red headbands and everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucking insane.
They changed this enough where they're forcing them to play Russian. Really?
Yeah.
Wow, we might have to correct that.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Just never have.
I was just going to say, like, this is a little bit more like they obviously are influenced by the Deer Hunter, but they kind of made it their own where it's this guy just basically doing it to get his own perverse jollies off.
Yeah. Then Irene's friend Laura, she puts the razor blade up her hoo-ha nearly.
Yeah, she inserts the razor blade into her vagina.
Yeah, into her vagina. Yeah, that can't be comfortable.
Yeah, but the tool of revenge that she's about to make happen is pretty ingenious. I actually really dug this part of the movie.
Oh yeah. Then there's more Russian roulette. Cut back to a naked Laura, and she's going over her play lines that she said at the beginning of the movie. Blade hears her. Then we cut to more, Russian roulette. Then Blade visits Laura, and he decides he's going to stick his dick in, and he realized he just got his dick razored right the fuck off.
Or at least right up the middle.
Yeah. Oh God, he flayed it. He got flayed. Spatchcock. Literally spatchcock.
Oh my God, that's a clip. I need to use that.
And anyway, so then as that happens to him, he chokes Laura to death. So we're back at the Russian roulette, and the cop is trying to slowly reach for a shotgun while the main bad guy's head is turned. And before he can, he is caught. And then Laura takes the gun as she was about to do the Russian roulette and threatens to shoot the main bad guy, but is convinced otherwise because you only have one bullet. You might not be lucky. And so she puts the gun down. And actually, the cop's not hurt anymore because he's too interested in this. Then we get to Blade's. Blade's hurting, and he's limping around outside of the outside the walls. There, he's not doing well.
Having your dick split up the middle tends to put a damper on your day.
That just make you hurt a little bit, feel a tingle.
No, I don't think that I would have been engaging in the kind of thing that caused that because that was clearly revenge for what he did to.
Oh yeah, no, I mean. Just saying it still hurts.
Yeah, it's not something that I want to fucking...
deserved it, but it still hurt.
Yeah, it's not something that I want to think about happening to me, absolutely not. But, I don't feel like I would be in the situation like that, or at least I would hope not.
Yeah, right.
Also, I don't think it would actually work. I think it's just movie, logic that makes that happen. If anything, the razor blade would probably turn sideways and fuck up the girl more than the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it still hurts. So anyway, then more roulette, more, everyone's one after the other, they're going.
Yeah, they remove all the tension of the roulette by making it last for a good, what feels like 20 goddamn minutes of the movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Then Blades goes to that same area where the women were kind of grabbing at him and loving on him, and they start tearing him apart now through the bars. And it's bad, and he gets his ass torn up here.
Yeah, I was really happy to see that the thirst factor went away whenever they heard what he did.
Yes, exactly. Albina's turn, and as one of the main guy, Crazy Boy, is laughing hysterically, she pulls the trigger, and her brains go all over Crazy Boy's mouth. He got a pretty hardcore facial there.
It went into his mouth, it was like a blood geyser cum shot into his mouth.
A piece of brain, I think, went in there.
Yeah, he was in fact the cannibal because I think he swallowed that, and that's why he got all upset.
Yeah, he was not happy, and it was crazy. And then, just then, Blade comes in all torn to shit and falls, and he pretty much dead.
I'm surprised he lasted as long as he did with having his dick severed up the middle, because you could bleed to death from that pretty easily.
Yeah, you should be. I mean, you should just be gone right after that.
Well, and the lady's tearing him up is probably losing even more blood. I'm surprised he actually made it to where he did.
Yeah, right. Holy Jesus. Then the call comes in, and they tell him that everything's prepared, everything is ready, the car, the plane, the money. So the money is being handled and the given to the driver, and the driver's also given a gun. They are taking the warden and the cop. They're taking the warden, Harrison the cop, and Emmanuel as hostages, the two that are left. Emmanuel and the DA come face to face, and we get a whole flashback of the court case that landed her in jail, and her promise that they were going to, she was going to end the DA and get him.
This is repurposed stuff from Violence in a Women's Prison, by the way.
Exactly, yes, very much repurposed. The DA wants all the men to fire, but no one will because they're hostages. So he grabs a gun and he kills one of the guys, with the only other prisoner except Crazy Boy. He kills him and also ends up killing the warden. And then the main guy shoots and kills the DA. And then everyone kind of settles down, tells him to get into the car and drive away. One of the other officials there. So DA, warden, and one of the other prisoners dead. Only one prisoner left.
I love it when a cast thins out like this.
Yeah, right? It's always nice. It's less confusing.
Especially in a Mattei flick.
Exactly. Well, they get into their car, they drive away. So Crazy Boy has the driver push the car way too hard because he wants to get going fast. And the driver keeps trying to warn him, but he won't listen. So the car stalls out on him. As he's kind of freaking out a little bit, the driver gets out a gun and shoots him right in the shoulder. He fucking shoots back, and I don't know if the driver's dead or not, but he's definitely shot. And he gets out with the money and runs away, but is being followed by Harrison and Emmanuel. They are able to catch up to him easily as he is bleeding out, and then we get a replay of all the horrible shit that has happened in this movie. All the horrible shit was replayed, and then the cop Harrison states that he is apparently, now they're more evenly matched, that they are both lost all this blood and have one arm, and he beats the shit out of him, knocking him out. We end with Emmanuel being transferred back into her cell, being kind of led back to his cell by another guard, and roll credits.
Okay. An hour, 20 minutes? Feels mostly pretty quick. Moves along at a good pace until the Russian roulette sequence. And then, even though that's intercut with a bunch of other action, it just feels like it takes way too goddamn long.
In all seriousness, because, yes, while I am disappointed I didn't get to see Laura Gemser naked, and, I'm not really a big fan of watching all the shit ton of rape scenes and all that, I will say this, the main problem I had actually with the film was how long the Russian roulette went. It would have been a great idea, but save that for towards the end, right before they leave, and not stretch it out for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it wasn't actually 20 minutes, but it sure goddamn felt like it.
But, it did. It felt like it.
Yeah. I was earlier championing Laura Gemser's acting in this film, and I hate to say it, but I think some of the finest acting she does is when she's being assaulted in the film. I think that's what made it that much more visceral, and I felt it that much more.
She can act like being like for real being assaulted. You know what I mean? She always has been able to do that.
Yeah, for whatever reason, she's able to go to that place where being victimized is something that she portrays very well. And the more I see it, the more it breaks my heart, and the more it makes me wonder. And I don't want to think about that because I'm such a fan. One of the other sequences I really actually enjoyed, believe it or not, was the really artsy fartsy play that Emanuela wrote that was at the beginning. I really actually kind of like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I never. Yeah, it's all right. I had no problems with it. I thought it was an interesting little take to take, and it was a nice little callback for it when Laura was preparing herself. So
I liked the way that the women were all being brutal and honest about who they are and what happened, and just kind of how that one woman dialogue was being delivered, and the way that the actresses were portraying it on the stage. It looked like it was raw, and while the characters that were doing the acting, like the prisoners, may not have been good actors or anything like that. They were really putting their heart behind it, and it just it came through in the film, and I thought that was actually pretty well done. And I kind of dug the soliloquy, and it didn't last too awful long, and then it helps bring you into the world because you're like, what is this artsy fartsy weird shit? And then somebody stands up and says basically the same thing, and then starts throwing vegetables at Laura Gemser, and then you're like, hey, fuck you, blonde lady, you're gonna die.
Yeah, right. Fuck this lady. What a horrible person.
Right. It was really kind of an interesting sequence.
She tried to fuck up Laura Gemser and then rat it out two girls hooking up. I mean, she came a clam blocker, and it's just terrible.
Yeah, everything about that was wrong. Everything about what she was doing was absolutely wrong. Having said that, what I said about the sexual assault stuff, I was actually, for being a massacre in a women's prison, I was actually pleasantly surprised how there was significantly less of that than what I was thinking might have been there. Like, I was really kind of dreading it being one of those films that was going to be just raunchy.
I was with you. I was really preparing myself for the worst, and it never got as bad as I thought it was going to get.
Yeah, I think violence in a women's prison is much more grody, much more gruesome, and has a lot more stuff to it that really was cringeworthy and hard to see, including poor Laura Gemser being manhandled and mistreated. And I think that's the one where she's putting the giant bell and then there's rats dumped on her and stuff.
Yes, you're exactly right. And yeah, I agree. That was a lot more of a hardcore watch.
Yeah, this was decent enough of a flick. This is the kind of thing that if it were on like late night cable, or it popped up on like a USA Up All Night or a Joe Bob, like on the movie channel back in the day when he was on the movie channel, I probably would have watched it and probably would have really dug it, but gotten into it. Having seen all the movies that we've seen just this year alone as far as exploitation goes, and even just some of the women's prisons movies that we've already watched, this it's very middle of the road, just kind of mostly forgettable except for a few sequences and a few things that were pretty neat. And I mean, even the shootouts and the stuff that I was praising earlier is not something that you wouldn't be able to catch in another action film that might have even been done a little bit better.
Yeah. The driving scene, that was good with the roadblock. I really liked that. I liked that sequence. I thought the kind of the blood and gore effects were all right.
I really liked the effects when they replay the scene and the guy is basically like, because he can't get his bearings and he can't really walk right because his dick's split in twain, where he's like rolling around and the women are tearing at him and like clutching at him and like harming him and ripping at his eyes and stuff. The way that they did the progression of his wounds as he keeps going and like the screaming that he did to act it out, I thought that was pretty decent. The blood is like that tempera paint that we've seen before in the 70s just because the color timing, but it didn't distract me too much.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought that, particularly that scene was a well done, because again, I'm with you. Like, that progression of his injuries was a nice little treat, because a lot of times you're like, okay, he goes through this entire gauntlet, and now here are all the injuries. You didn't see anything as they happened. And here you kind of got to at least get the illusion of seeing them happen.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job, even though it was cutting back and forth. And in some cases, you would see like a t-shirt torn away and there'd be a wound underneath or something cheeseball like that. But it still was just enough to at least be a highlight. But I think at this point, you and I are just clutching at straws to say something positive.
I think so. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Mostly because compared to last week's Shocking Dark, this is like a fucking masterwork for Mattei.
This is way, way, way better than what we had last week.
Yeah, it's kind of the highlight so far of May Mattei, and I guess we'll see where it goes from here, right?
Yeah, right? I guess.
All right, so with that, we're going to take a little break here. We'll have a promo for the Gangs of Hollywood podcast, because once again, I'm giving the biggest push to any podcast I ever have here.
That's right. Good job.
Way
to promote.
We'll have a little bit more music that's a little synth wavy, and when we come back, we'll do a PsyOp news story to pad out the lack of review.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. And while Witch didn't make it to the top of the world, he did make the Gangs of Hollywood podcast. So join the gang and enjoy a movie review podcast about movie gangs, gangsters, mobsters, and the mayhem they cause. You can find GOH Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at GOH Pod at www.gohpod.com, as well as your favorite podcast listening app. And remember, say hello to your little friend for me.
Refreshing synthwave.
Oh, yeah. Sweet on the ears.
You got some news stories?
Yeah, I got one here.
All right, well, give me some psyop news.
Robert Ward, our field reporter.
Yeah.
Swedish city to dump ton of chicken manure in park to deter visitors.
That's a chicken shit move, Matt.
The university town of Lund in Sweden is to dump a ton of chicken manure in its central park in a bid to deter up to 30,000 residents from gathering there for traditional celebrations to mark Walpurgis night on Thursday.
Holy fuck, you pronounced something right.
Is that really Walpurgis?
Walpurgis, you said it right the first time.
Walpurgis. All right, cool. Lund could very well become an epicenter for the spread of the coronavirus on the last night in April. So I think it's a good initiative. The chairman of the local council's environment committee, Gustav Lundblad, told holy shit, no, there's way too many fucking nouns in this.
This is like traces of death, fuck to porno.
That too. Way too many verbs. So we get to they stated we get the opportunity to fertilize the lawns, and at the same time it will stink, and so it may not be so nice to sit and drink a beer in the park, Lundblad said, adding that the only potential drawback was that the smell may not be confined to the park. No shit, can you imagine if you live next to it? Somebody said there, he goes, I am not a fertilizer expert, but as I understand it, it is clear that it might smell a bit outside the park as well, Lundblad admitted. These are chicken droppings after all. I cannot guarantee that the rest of the city will be odorless, but the point is to keep people out of the city park.
Well, it would do a really good job of keeping people in their house with their windows closed to keep the air from circulating in and out of houses and moving viral loads that way.
That's true, but depending on what the temperatures there are, what if somebody doesn't have air conditioning or shit? That can kill them too.
Yeah, but it's also in Sweden, right? So I don't know how hot it's going to get.
Yeah, I don't know. See, that's what I'm saying. Depending on what the weather, I don't know what they're doing over there. So Walpurgis night is celebrated on the 30th of April and is widely marked across Central and Northern Europe with parties and bonfires. The festivities are classed as spontaneous, but holy shit, like I can say that word. The festivities are classed as spontaneous, so they cannot be banned by authorities. But to avoid the risk of spreading the coronavirus, many towns and cities of Sweden have asked citizens to give the tradition a miss this year. Philip Sandberg, the leader of the council, told the paper it would not be a pleasant experience to sit in the park that stinks of chicken manure, but it will be good for the lawns as chicken manure contains a lot of phosphorus and nitrogen, so we'll get a really nice park for the summer. Lund is home to one of Sweden's biggest universities, and many of the municipalities, 125,000 odd inhabitants, are students who habitually gather in the park in the afternoon and evening for picnics before the Walpurgis party proper gets underway.
Circle jerk!
Pretty much. Sweden has banned planned gatherings of more than 50, but asked rather than ordered people to observe the physical distancing, non-essential travel, and work from home, to stay indoors if they are elderly or ill.
That or they just had a bukkake mouth party.
And gyms have remained open.
Wow.
Yeah. We've gotten to the point where we're doing chicken poop now.
I mean, maybe if they spread chicken poop around all the places that the people would be protesting here in the state, but from what I've read so far, all the people that are trying to go anti-lockdown, I mean, that situation's kind of solving itself, Matt. I can't go a whole day without seeing another article about anti-blah-blah-blah protester, dies of COVID or is infected with COVID. The congregations of the evangelicals that were denying the lockdowns to just gather in church and then, throw their money at their church. A lot of them are now dying at alarming rates, especially the fundamentalists and stuff. So, problem solving itself.
Funny that you mentioned them.
Oh, yeah? Is that our next story?
It's funny you mentioned them. Due to lockdown, Christians are developing a huge porn addiction, the evangelist warns. So, another one from our on-the-field reporter, Robert Ward.
Pray to God. That's what assholes do.
If you pray, you're an asshole.
Is that cut together, or did I fucking actually say that?
What, this?
Pray to God. That's what assholes do.
You totally said that, but I took off the qualifier at the end to make the clip.
Oh, what was the qualifier? I can't remember.
It's that's what assholes do when their numbers up or something like that to like try and
yeah. I gotcha. All right. Well, good for you. Anyway, Pure the Friendly Atheist is by Terry Firma. When boredom strikes and no one's around, people's thoughts may turn to spending some quality time wrestling the eel or paddling the pink canoe.
Hey, fuckers, religion's bullshit. God's not real.
So grab your junk and work it like it's no tomorrow, because it just might not be.
But they don't think 80-year-old Christian author and evangelist Josh McDowell would approve. But he really hates it if you look at pictures of naked people while you're, in the process.
So we're going to be pushing the Christian agenda right down your fucking throat.
Regarding porn, says McDowell, is right at this moment destroying more marriages, more people's lives, more relationships than any one thing has ever done simultaneously in history.
I started doing drugs after that.
Yes. And if Christians views porn, oh boy, they're doing it in greater numbers.
Why are you coming to public swimming pools?
Greater numbers than ever thanks to lockdown, McDowell says, and he thunders that porn is by far the greatest cancer ever to the church.
Man, that is just the worst hand job ever.
All right. So the author wonders if this is a greater cancer than Christianity's serial crusades, or worse too than conservative Christians promising everyone outside the tribe tortured by fire in the afterlife. Worse than drawing and quartering apostles and heretics or burning them alive, and worse than accusing the slave trade with Bible verses.
Oh, this is such a friendly atheist fucking article where they like to point out all of the hypocritical nature of Christianity and the hypocrisy.
Well, this is from the Friendly Atheist.
Yeah, it's totally a friendly atheist article. You can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they give you the facts.
The mistakes the churches have made.
Yeah, they give you the facts, and then they lay it on even heavier, where they're like, "Yeah, well, Christians did this and this and this, and how is that not worse? How is this not worse?" Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently we are we have a lot more people watching porn now.
All blowjobs should be teethy.
So I'd rather not. Can we not?
You just watched taint and ass as balls wiggled in and out.
Yes, we did. There wasn't much to that article other than that. So
we're just trying to prolong the amount of time that happens before we watch this brother and sister fuck.
Yeah. That's all this is.
Good one. We're both involved in that.
Oh my god, just fucking incest already.
Oh god, Jesus. Oh man.
Yeah, this is gonna have to be shorter than last week's because I'm fucking done.
I'm done, man. Listen, my start to this show didn't go all that great. So
yeah, but you know what? You're a fucking trooper, and your can-do fucking attitude made the show happen tonight. So we got the 247 weeks in. So I'm more than happy with you here because despite everything that happened, you mustered it together, and we got the fucking show.
Fucking A, man. We got through it. We did it together.
Well, we're not done yet. We need to play the Ending Legion promo. We're gonna have a little bit more synthwave music, and then we will have gotten through this fucking show.
All right.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like CinePsyEP247, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Helming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema, Discourse, Pick Six Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic Podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, Two Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.
that sounds like exercise music here. Like, what was the big rage that everybody was doing for their cardio back in the day in the 80s, Matt? What was that exercise called?
Aerobics. Jazz?
Yeah, aerobics. Yeah,
it was aerobics. Yeah.
I can totally just picture like that Jamie Lee Curtis movie where it's all crotches moving all the time with John Travolta in it.
Was the jazzercise also 80s or was that early 90s?
I don't really know because clearly neither of us has exercised a day in our life.
But listen, you just talked about exercising and I got a little sweaty and I think I'm winded.
Well, don't get yourself too worked up. We got to keep you alive for next week so that we can figure out how to make the show happen once again.
Well, hopefully next week I'll have some things figured out by then. I have a week now.
Yeah, you have a little more than a week because you have at least 7 days, before we record again. So, folks, where can you find all of our previous old and archivey type recordings back in the day from when Matt sounded like this relatively regularly when he Skyped in? Well, that's legionpodcast.com/cinema-psyop. You're using the same Xbox headphones that you used to use back in the day, right?
Yes. Yes, I am. That's correct.
Yeah, this was what you did the couple of times you did commentaries with Gary back in the day, too. You used the same headset.
Did I use this one?
Yeah.
I think I might have. I can't remember if I got a new headset since then.
No, maybe not. I don't know. It sounds the same to me, but...
I think, you know what? No, I think you're right. This is the same one. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't buy new stuff. You make me buy you new stuff for the show.
That's true.
If you'd like to comment about how Matt makes me buy him shit for the show, you can join our Facebook group and chide him there. He's at least going to respond to a few things there. I noticed you posted earlier in the week on Facebook as you and into the group.
Yeah. Me.
Yeah, but the one that you posted was kind of rapey, and I had to chide you for that a little bit.
You did. I just thought it was funny. Made me laugh.
You've heard it here first, folks. Matt PsyOp thinks rape memes are funny.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, I don't like the way you just said that one.
Well, if you'd like to get to Matt on that, it's in Facebook. He is Matt PsyOp, and I'm on Facebook as well as Cort PsyOp, so you can join my side and tell him to stop posting memes like that. They're not that funny.
Yeah, other people thought they were funny. That's weird.
You can email feedback to Matt, psyopmatt@gmail.com, and let him know that his memes aren't funny.
It's true. Well, one of the memes is funny.
Okay, fair enough. 50% of the time, his memes are funny all the time.
It's more than that. 90% of the time, my memes are funny. All right? All the time.
You can email feedback to Cort, cinemapsyopscort@gmail.com, and let him know that percentages don't work like that.
They can work like that. Just numbers. They don't control us.
You can also tweet a couple of tweets to a couple of twats on the hate-filled shitfest that knows everything about life and wants to cancel your culture. That is Twitter. I'm at Cort_PsyOp, and he is at psyopmatt. Now, if you have posted a tasty, high-quality fucking meme, or if maybe I just saw a meme of yours that I decided was going to be stolen by me, well, that's where you're going to find it on the cinema_psyop Instagram. That's the best place to find all of those tasty-ass, high-quality fucking memes. Now, those do get shared to our Cinema PsyOps page, which I then reshare to various groups that I feel could appreciate such high-quality memes. They're all there for you, folks. They're ready to go.
Posted memes.
The highest quality posted memes are available for you there. Well, Matt, you are 2 for 4. You are halfway through May Mattei this week.
God, yeah, it only cost me as possibly a computer. This May Mattei has come with its sacrifices.
Well, just like Matt, folks, kick the fuck out of that warranty and this week and make it your bitch. want to make sure that you can hear the clips okay and that they're not too loud since this is a different form than what we've been doing.
Okay.
Just because. You should be able to hear it, but if it's too loud, I think I can try and turn the feed down for you on that.
All right.
Let's see. Of course, I don't hear anything.
I don't hear anything.
Oh, I think I know why. Here. How about that?
Oh, that's much better.
This is just synthy techno. You hear that okay?
Yep.
All right, awesome.
To be honest, I hear you 100% perfect. Put your talents, your deviant, horrific talents to work there.
Do me a favor, pull the mic just a little bit away from your face.
How's that, better?
Yeah, you were just crackling with the louder pops and stuff. No big deal. Just wanted to just take that out. That's an outtake anyway.
We're happy to offer some.
All right, I did that intentionally. I'm moving along just to try and speed things up, okay?
All right.
So just to give you the taste of the music and all right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so there you got an idea of what that's going to sound like.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming in 3, 2, 1.
We open up with 3 women doing a play in our first clip. Hey.
Yeah?
Hey. Don't laugh too much, all right? It's just one of 4, okay? So it's not like it's a clip-heavy show.
Yeah, 1 3-minute clip.
And that's pretty much all the dialogue of the movie, so whatever.
All right, let's just pretend like I fucking played it. We know that this is the opening play and where it goes from there, so move on.
I know this sounds funny, but it's also our next clip.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't say I blame you. I don't, though.
Okay, wait. Are we going to play it, or are we just going to pretend like we played it?
Yeah, I'm using these as outtakes, so go ahead. We'll just keep going.
All right.
And split it off into 2.
So you mean they Mattei'd it? You know, when powerful people are scared of unions and talk you out of it, it might be time to look into bringing back more unions. Just saying.
Yeah, the more someone is afraid of something like collective bargaining, the more you should be interested in doing said collective bargaining.
The more I see billionaires say they don't like something, the more I start to think maybe we should look into it more.
The more I hear billionaires say, please don't guillotine me, the more I want to guillotine billionaires.
I mean, you're not alone. I mean, I've gotten to the point now where if a billionaire's like, this isn't good for the people of Earth, I kind of go, well, I don't know. Now I want to look into it because it might be really good for the people of Earth and just bad for their fucking pockets.
The only one that I kind of leave the exception to the rule on that is Bill Gates, but I'm still dubious. I've got my eye on him, but he's lower on the list.
If he starts saying, you know what, people should just be chipped to be chipped with my new Microsoft chips, then I'm going to start to wonder what the fuck he's doing. Because I'm not being chipped.
The only chips that are getting into Matt PsyOp are fucking tortilla.
That's right. Maybe some Doritos. All right.
Same. Just different flavors.
Yeah. Sorry, almost had a freak out there. I'm going to have a panic attack. My resting heart rate's panic attack right at this point.
I think it just might be my kink to watch little Laura Gemsner beat the fuck out of someone that's almost twice her size.
That also might be good, yeah. I mean, I'm not judging you for anything here.
I would like to see her beat the fuck out of someone 3 times her size. I would still get into that, too.
Word up.
That's me, Matt. I'm 3 times her size.
Yeah.
We found a new kink for Cort.
I would like someone 5 times her size, so is that me, Cort?
I just hope Laura Gemsner never fucking hears our show. Or maybe she'll like the flattery of us being obsessed with her in a way that would probably cause a restraining order.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, no, I hope she never listens to this. I'd feel bad. Laura's been set up by what it sounds like the district attorney. So that's a pretty powerful man to have it in for you.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only one that could probably fuck up your life even more would be like the governor, right?
Or, well, the mayor, and then governor.
Yeah, but
then
if it's the
senator.
If it's the district attorney, I guess it would be district attorney, then mayor. Yeah, so the city or the township, and then the mayor, and then the probably state attorney or the attorney general of the state, and
something like that.
Then
yeah,
the governor. Yeah. Warranty and this weekend make it your bitch.
Jesus Christ.
At least you don't have to stop recording on your side, right?
Right.
All right, so I have stopped recording.